Hi, this is Trepacer. I wanted to drop this news because it's kind of a spoiler, I guess, for people that don't know. But there's a spoiler. One of these scoopers that released this information, and I don't think James Gunn has confirmed it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. That Bradley Cooper has been uh, revealed as because they did a bunch of test screenings, and Bradley Cooper has been revealed as Jor-El. He's going to play Jor-El in this movie. Which I think is good. Bradley Cooper is a good actor, so I'm happy with that choice. I know there was a small part of me that was kind of hoping that Henry Cavill would be Jor-El, even though, I mean, because he facially he looks like uh, David Cornsweet. So I thought that would be a natural fit. But uh, uh, Bradley Cooper's a good choice. He's a good actor, and I wonder if they're going to have a sequence of him on Krypton. I wonder if they're going to do that, or because remember there was a shot in the trailer of him, Superman kneeling by like the Superman robot. I forgot the name of it, of the robot, because from the comics, there's a shot of him like like basically cradling this robot, like the robot is dead or something. And we know from photos that have been released before that that Lex Luthor, the engineer, and whoever the guy in a black hood who's fighting a Superman clone, they enter the fortress. And I think what they do is they actually, they take whatever thing Lex Luthor probably takes and raid whatever technology is in there, and probably the robot tries to stop him, and probably the clone rips it apart. They destroy the robot, and I think that robot may be the last kind of maybe Jor-El put his brain patterns or something in that robot. I know that's probably not the way they did it in the comics, but I'm thinking that's um, what he did, and that's why Superman is so emotional. Like creating the robot, because that's the last image of his father. That's the last thing that has his father's essence in it. You know, and I think I think that makes sense. Um, so you may have a nice tear jerking scene with Superman, crying over, you know, the robot that has his father's, his last messages from his father in it, that's directing him and stuff. And because maybe he did that on Krypton because he knew the planet was dying, and he said, "Let me put all my essence into this robot." Not essence, but all his maybe even his. I'm trying to think of the word, not essence, but maybe all his knowledge and stuff in there and stuff, and every kind of question that his son may be able to ask him and stuff. And so he put that in that robot, and then now with the robot, literally being destroyed, of course that's would devastate Clark. That this last bit of his father, his birth father, being destroyed. Of course, it would just destroy him. It would make him get all emotional and stuff. And I think we're gonna get a really good scene of that happening, because I think that's what's happening. Again, this is my speculation about it happening, and I do wonder if we're gonna get like a scene, maybe like a 3D hologram thing of Bradley Cooper dressed as Jor-El with the symbol and stuff, talking to Clark, Kal-El Superman, so which would be cool to say. And also, there's another little bit of information. Again, this is just stuff that I've heard, so it's not. I'm trying to avoid the big spoilers and stuff, but because we already know James Gunn, I guess the theme of this movie is that Superman's kindness in a world that doesn't tolerate kindness. Okay, I guess, and this, I guess, because I heard some people saying that there's no plot really to this. It's just a bunch of incidents and stuff. But I think James Gunn, to me, is too smart of a writer to just have it be that, because I think it's gonna show that theme that he said it's gonna be. Superman's gonna basically. I think the basic gist of this is that Superman, the way he is, by his example, the other heroes who are more corporate, like Green Lantern and everybody else, they're going to learn to be their own heroes. And I think by the end of the movie, they're going to, because I think they work for Lord Tech. That's where they have the symbol on their thing. I think at the end of it, they'll walk away from that and probably get their original costumes. You probably see Gary Gardner in his original Green Lantern, costume, and Hawk Girl too, and Mr. Rick already has sort of his his suit and stuff anyway. I think that's what's going to happen in the movie. I think by Superman as example, people are gonna, those other heroes are gonna learn. They're gonna learn that from Superman to be, more different and stuff. And I know there was a scene too when they were filming in, I think it was Ohio, where they were filming in a park somewhere where you see a bunch of heroes and Superman walking, and then you see a bunch of kids like run up to Superman, and Superman, you see Superman like pick up two of them and kind of swing them. Like the kids literally like run up to him, and so, which is, I guess, just showing again that people. And I know you see in the trailer of the guys, that the people, I guess, I'm yelling at Superman, and you see one of them throw a can at him. I think again, I think that's all part of what James Gunn wants to convey, that that Superman's going to try his best and stuff, and he may fail at points sometime, and maybe people will even turn against him a little bit at one point, until I think. And again, there was another scene I wanted to talk about. In the trailer, you see Mr. Terrific. I think he's in that desert fortress where I think the Luthor Corp people are, and you see a woman. The soldiers are like firing at him, and he's like blocking them with the T spheres. I think he's making like a force field that's blocking the bullets and stuff. And then you see somebody bent down, and then obviously later we see a picture. I think we saw a picture later of Lois Lane. It's Lois Lane actually there. She was, I guess maybe she was coming there to interview, and I think there's going to be a part of the movie when Superman, maybe he gets framed by Luthor, and then Lois investigates, and so she goes out to this camp, and maybe she finds some evidence to clear Superman's name. And I think there will be, besides the obviously showdown in that baseball stadium between Ultraman and the Engineer and Superman. I think Mr. Terrific is in that scene as well. Okay, and then you see Superman, getting his butt kicked, and then Superman flying off. He's like surrounded. I think there was some of the behind the scenes film. You see him like surrounded by the Engineer and the Ultraman clone, and then he just takes off. And so I think that scene leads to the scene we see in the trailer when it opens up, where you see Superman basically just crash lands, because I think that's probably right after he gets his behind kicked by the Engineer and the Ultraman, who's probably the clone of Superman, which is probably the only person that can hurt Superman, really, besides without having kryptonite. He's the only one that probably can physically hurt Superman. So I think that scene is right after the baseball scene. You see Superman just fly and take off and crash land. And I do wonder if after that, when Krypto comes to get him in the trailer, and he says, "Take me home," and maybe he takes Superman back to the fortress, and then maybe Luthor and them, they follow him. They follow Superman to the fortress, and that's how they get into the fortress and destroy stuff. And Superman's recovering and stuff. They destroy the robot and all that stuff, and Luthor takes whatever technology he wants to take out of there, and then Superman sees the robot all destroyed and scanned, and that robot probably has the last essence of its father in it, and of course that's why he gets all emotional. But I'm looking forward to this, and we're going to also get a trailer. I think CinemaCon, I think, starts. Hold on, I know it's like 3 or 4 days. Let me see. CinemaCon, when does that start? Hold on, I just want to make a tab. Hold on. Let's see, CinemaCon. 2025. Yeah, March 31st. So it is Monday to Thursday. Yeah, right? Because 31st is Monday, the 1st, and the 2nd is Wednesday, 5th. And 3rd is Thursday, yeah. So, yes, from Monday to Thursday. And I think, we know Warner Brothers is going to be there, and I think James Gunn is going to be there, I think. And also, I think David Cohen Sweat and Rachel Brosnahan, I think they're going to be there too, and I think they're going to debut the first official trailer, because remember the other trailer we got is a teaser trailer, even though that teaser trailer is like 2 minutes and something. I think this trailer is going to be, because they said they're following the model of Barbie, and Barbie, I think they released a teaser trailer, a regular trailer, then another trailer. So I think they said they're going to follow that model to promote Superman. So I think, again, we're going to get that trailer this week, probably either that Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully it's to Tuesday, but I think we're going to get the trailer. We're going to get a full trailer which I guess will reveal more of the plot and stuff, and when we'll even have Superman talking and stuff in the trailer. I want to see maybe some interaction between him and Lois. Okay, maybe Superman and Lois, and maybe even Luthor and Superman, which would be cool. Maybe a little shot of them of the fight in the stadium. Okay, just little things, and maybe a little bit of Metamorpho too. Exactly, so we know it's Metamorpho, and maybe a couple of scenes of the not a couple of scenes, but some scenes of the other heroes like Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl and stuff. Maybe a few scenes of just a scene of them talking, interacting together. Where you can actually hear them, because I think this trailer is going to have more dialogue in it, because the other trailer was basically mostly music and stuff. Because I think the only thing Superman ever said in the other trailer was, "Crypto, take me home, take me home." I think that was the only bit of dialogue you got in that movie from Superman. So I think in this next trailer we're going to get more of him speaking and more dialogue in this trailer. I think this trailer will be a dialogue-heavy trailer, so we can get more of the plot and stuff. And I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait till that comes out. So anyway, let me know what you think of this whole, Bradley Cooper as Jor-El. I think it's a good choice. I would have liked to have been spoiled about it, but it is what it is. These people, these scoopers, they're going to scoop. Excuse me, unfortunately. Excuse me. And sometimes you just can't. Unfortunately, you're going to learn what you're going to learn, because these scoopers are going to scoop. Okay, so unfortunately, it is what it is. But I think Bradley Cooper's a good choice. I think he'll make a good Jor-El. Okay, and I'm looking forward to a scene or two of him interacting with Clark, Superman. Okay, it'll be good. And I also, for some reason, I still think he's going to get a new suit, because you see in that trailer where he has the bird suit because he's fighting that kaiju. And also that kaiju, do you wonder if that kaiju is Metamorpho, that he metamorphosized into the kaiju? Is that possible? I don't know. We'll see if that's just my theory. It could be Metamorphos, that kaiju, because he can change into different things. But who knows? But yeah, so we'll see what that is. But those are the things that I want to see in the next trailer, which I think is coming Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, hopefully they'll show it at CinemaCon, and hopefully they'll put it online later. Excuse me, in the day, because they're ahead of us time-wise. I think because they're in Brazil, I think. So hopefully maybe we'll see it here. But anyway, let me know what you think again of this information. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing Bradley Cooper. I think it's great. Of course, we know Supergirl is going to be in this movie as well, because it's going to lead into her own movie, so which they're filming right now. And probably when the movie comes out, Superman comes out, they'll probably maybe show a teaser trailer for the Supergirl movie. Okay, and I think for some reason in this movie, I think Superman and Lois know each other, like they know, like she knows he's Superman, and she's there in the middle of a relationship. The reason I say that is because that shot where you see Clark, he's sitting at the thing, Lois is walking down the thing, and then she looks at him, and he turns around and looks at her, and then later in the trailer you see her kissing him in the kitchen. I think it looks like a kitchen, and he looks more, dressed down as Clark, without his glasses on and stuff. So obviously she knows, I think at that point, that he's Superman. But I think for some reason, I think they're in a relationship already, and maybe even she knows that he's Superman for some reason. I think that may already be established, that she knows that he's Superman, that they've been in a relationship. I think for some reason I think that may be the case, but that's just my speculation about that. But anyway, again, let me know your thoughts about everything I discussed in this video. Please, in the description box, I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. I also have a link to my other channel called Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. Again, Patreon's still up, $5 a month. Over 200 videos on there. The last thing I put on there is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, all 10 episodes, uncensored. You get 5-minute preview clips of all the content that I have on there, so follow the link. It'll take you to my Patreon page. Also have a link down below to my merchandise store. As you can see, I'm wearing my baseball shirt with the logo on it, and I sell hats, t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, hoodies, water bottles, teddy bears, everything with my logo, with this logo on it, and the spherical circles. That's the other logo that I have. And I sell for men, for women, unisex stuff. Follow link, it'll take you to the store. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And This is Trepacer saying so long and take care.